Hey everybody, Kyle Goth here from GoatFromReviews.com and the Goat From Reviews YouTube channel with a first reaction to the new adaptation of Stephen King's classic novel, Firestarter, this time directed by Keith Thomas. The film stars Zac Efron. I'm missing the little girl's name, I'm sorry. Michael Grey Eyes is in the film. Kurtwood Smith is in the film. And let me just start off right now by saying there are some really good things in this movie. There's some really poor things in this movie. So I'm going to start with the things I really like, because this movie has been getting a lot of poor press. Very low opening box office weekend. I think it currently sits at 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. I was planning on just streaming it on Peacock, but I got some free tickets sent my way, so I thought, you know what, the theater is the better choice here. And I'll say this. I think, given what they're able to do, there's a couple of truly great performances in the film, and I'll start with Zac Efron. I thought Zac Efron was a really smart choice to play the father, Andy, and I still do. I don't think that his character is written to give him as much thematic and emotional depth as the previous film did or as the novel did. And I'm trying not to compare them to this because they should be seen on their own, but having read the novel and having seen the film a number of times, these things come to mind. I also think Michael Grey Eyes, who plays Rainbird, is phenomenal. I think he's so great in this movie. Again, given what he's able to do with the screenplay and the character, I thought he was such an inspired choice. I was a fan of his from Fear the Walking Dead, and I thought that's a truly great idea, Michael Grey Eyes playing Rainbird. I also think Kurtwood Smith, who's not in the film very much, I think he's in like literally one scene, but he's wonderful in that one scene that he's in. Kurtwood Smith is very good as Wanless, the doctor that's there. I also want to call out the score from John Carpenter, Cody Carpenter, and I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the third name. John and Cody and their third member of their kind of scoring team. John Carpenter was brought in to score this movie. It was funny because he was originally attached, I think, to direct the 80s adaptation of Firestarter before The Thing became a financial box office failure, and then he was taken off that project. So it's interesting to see him returning to do Firestarter this time around, doing the score. This score is great. And because the film has those 80s tones to it, the score works really, really well. So I'm gonna say all that on the gist of it. And then I gotta talk about the problems with the movie. And there's a good number of them. This is an adaptation of a novel by Stephen King. I've read the novel. I've seen the other version of it. And there's so much bare bonesing of this script. We lose so much thematic character depth to Zac Efron's character. We lose a lot to Michael Grey Eyes' character, Rainbird. Like I said, they're doing the best they can with what they have to do, but man, they bare bones this thing to the point where it loses so much character moments. It loses so much, even just tension due to the plot, because the plot, you know, the shop, who's the villainous organization who's basically trying to find Charlie and her father, they're very one note, must capture them for reasons, and the book gives them so much more to do. The previous movie gave them so much more to do. So it's like, why did we eliminate so much of I guess mythology might not be the right word, but so much of the building around of these characters and these environments and all the stuff that the book gave us. Yeah, the structure of the film this time around is very like beginning to end, whereas again the book and the original movie both had a lot of flashbacks, and I think the flashbacks helped us to show character progression that didn't seem so jarringly quick. This film is shown beginning to end, no flashbacks really, except for the opening titles, and it gives Zac Efron's character Andy so little time to make character adjustments, to go from what he believes at the beginning of the film to what he believes at the end of the film, that I didn't buy, given the limited dialogue he actually had in the film, that his character was making that choice. And I don't think that's a thing that Zac Efron was even, or most actors would have been capable of doing, given the limited bare bones screenplay for that. Same thing with Michael Grey Eyes. What's weird is that for Rainbird, they introduced the character and they made a change to how we're introduced to Rainbird. Again, the original novel didn't have it this way. The original movie didn't have it this way. We're introduced to Rainbird in a very different place this time around, which would have been fine. But the weird thing is, what happens to him at the end of the film is also changed. And the thing is, the two changes that they made actually kind of cancel each other out. Like, the thing that they changed at the beginning of his character arc doesn't make sense then with how he's perceived at the end of the film, and vice versa. It would have been okay to make one of these changes, but they made both, and each one doesn't make sense when seen in context of the other change. This is a very, very poor screenplay, and it's truly frustrating because this is a book that can work as a movie very well. And I even think, as much as I like the original 80s film, it's a flawed movie. I think this is one where taking another crack at an adaptation was a smart choice. I don't think most people are as beholden to the 80s Firestarter film as, say, like remaking Halloween, remaking Friday the 13th, or Nightmare on Elm Street. All those things would be tough, This is one where readapting that book and trying again, I think you could do it. And this film just misses a lot of that. And unfortunately, like, some of the things that I was very much mixed. Like, I was thinking it's okay through most of the film. And there were some really donk choices at the end. Some really dumb, foolish things that the screenplay does that leaves us in a very odd place. The film doesn't even really feel like it has an ending. A colleague of mine had kind of spoken that it feels like a pilot to a bad TV show. And that's kind of true. It kind of ends in a place where this would have been like the first episode of something else. And that's really frustrating too, because the novel doesn't have that. And it doesn't sound like there was ever the intention to do that. I mean, I've been hearing about this film for a while, so I don't think I would have missed the fact that this might have been a potential pilot to a show. This has always been a movie to my knowledge. So yeah, there's just some really ridiculous choices and some really foolhardy decisions and changes made to this original source material. I'm not beholden to the source material. I know most of Stephen King's work gets changed in the adaptation process, and oftentimes you have to do that when you make a film, because a film is very different than a book. Films are external and books are internal, as Mick Garris likes to say. Films are external. You have to see everything. You can't spend your time in a character's thoughts in a film. So I understand that, like, things have to change, and large swaths of the character, you can eliminate minor characters if it means that you're going to focus heavier on your main character. You can eliminate minor moments in the plot if you feel like it'll streamline the tension and you feel like it'll still deliver the same kind of stuff, because again, 300-page book, tough to fit into a 90 to 120 minute movie. So I understand that, but some of the choices that were made are really weird changes that I don't think, even at their best execution, would have improved the film. Most of them are choices where it's like, but by doing this, you're eliminating a major character moment, especially, like, I think about the interactions between Charlie and Rainbird. There's a lot of them in the book. There's a good number of them in the first film adaptation too. And this one just kind of like eliminates those two characters' tension. They don't really share a lot of screen time, and it kind of takes away from Charlie's character journey, and Rainbird's too, because Rainbird is a very, very messed up and evil person in the book, but you understand why he thinks he's the good guy. This film is just very, very much missing some of the best character piece stuff that was in the book, and it's just missing things that would have made the movie better. And it runs by at a quick pace, I'll give it that. I mean, all of a sudden I realized we were like an hour and 10 minutes in, and I'm like, oh, this thing's almost done, okay. And I got to give it to that, at least it's quick. But it's just so frustrating when you see a movie that ignores a good chunk of the source material. It almost feels like they, instead of adapted the book again, that they might have taken the original screenplay for the 80s film and adapted that, kind of rewrote that instead. It feels more like a remake to the 80s film that tries to streamline things than a readaptation of the King book. That's just me, though. But guys, I want to know what you thought about the new adaptation of Firestarter. It's streaming now on Peacock, so even if you don't want to go to the theater for it, you can watch it for, I think, free. It might be part of the premium plan. I don't know. I already have the premium one, so I don't really know what tier it is. But if you get a chance to watch it, please do so, and let me know in the comment section down below your thoughts on the film. And have you read the book before? Have you seen the other adaptation? Have you seen the sequel to the original Firestarter? There was one called Firestarter Rekindled. It's like a 3-hour TV movie. I've not caught that myself yet, but let me know what your background is to Firestarter, what your expectations were going into this, and how you felt about the overall film. I'd love to hear about it. And while you're down there too commenting, please make sure to like and subscribe. There are 2 free things that you can do that help to support the channel immensely. They make sure that my channel can continue to grow, and you never miss new episodes of the show as they drop. You can also find goatfilmreviews.com for my many written reviews. You can find Goat Film Reviews on Facebook. You can follow me personally at Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Almighty Goatman. And you can also find my show Kyle and Nick on Film that I co-host with Nick Polatichuk from the St. Paul Filmcast Mondays, Thursdays, and Scary Movie Saturdays, where we pick a different film every episode and break it down, dissect it, and talk about what we love and maybe what we don't love about them. So please check out those. All those links are down in the description, and we'll see you next time.